Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We got the blown up 330 Ci vert in the shop. She's pretty well tore down. Got the engine transmission out. Sold off the 5-speed swap yesterday. That was nice to get that out of here. Interior, it's becoming a storage bin. Sold the whole natural leather brown interior the other day. The seats, door cards, front and back. Let's see. We sold off some lights, front and back headlights, taillights. So this thing is getting pretty close to being rolled out of here. I'm probably gonna keep the doors, fenders, hood. The hood, actually, I think I'm gonna just get repainted and put on my 330 Ci autocross car. The hood on that's got some issues. Not the original hood, anyways. Starting to get a little bit of rust underneath because it was a northern hood. So this one's perfect shape. Just needs to get painted. And you see the underside is really nice as well. So I think I'll get this, put it on that my 330 Ci, get that body kit from the Slick Top 323i, 323 Ci, and make that all happen at once. But we'll save on these fenders. They're in good shape. I kind of half thought that I'd take the bumpers, fenders, doors, hood, and throw it on the ugly 323 Ci, but these are in pretty nice shape, so I'm sure someone will grab them at some point. So anywho, here we have its heart. If you remember, this thing had zero compression when turning over. We did a compression test, and we had 0, 0, 40, 0, 50, 0 PSI of compression. Then we boroscoped cylinder 1 after we found a damaged spark plug and the zero compression, and saw that you got the Bluetooth piston and rods. So I did actually drain the oil out as well. I drained 6 quarts out. I put 4 in, so that means it only had 2 out of 7 quarts capacity in the engine. So I'm sure that's what the failure point was. Today, what I think we're gonna do is strip this thing down and see what actually happened. So I'm gonna start just off camera. I'm gonna strip all the accessories off. We're gonna get the the alternator off, the AC bracket, the exhaust manifolds, all that junk off, all the front end accessories. I just kind of want to explore the engine, see what really happened. I don't have good light for you, but even just looking down in the intake ports, they're in pretty good shape. It's not all gooked up or anything like that, nothing crazy. But I think this just was a simple case of running out of oil and it grenaded. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to work stripping this accessory stuff off, just get us a clean block. Then we'll start taking the head off. I'm torn between taking the cams out or not. But it's really no advantage to it. It's just gonna be more parts laying around. So I'll probably leave the cams in. I just wanna pop the head off, see if there's damage to the head itself. Is it reusable or not? All right, guys, well, we got this stripped down a bit of the way. Got most of the front accessories off. I haven't tried to take that harmonic balancer off yet. Don't really need to at this point. Got the exhaust manifolds off, drained out the rest of the coolant. Made a little bit of a mess, but we'll clean that up. Everything's off on this side. Both hard coolant pipes broke. You see the ends there. That's typical. These are probably the original. You see the blue zip tie that goes around the knock sensors. That's what the way it comes from the factory. So they're probably the original hard coolant lines. And this is an 03, so 21 years and 180,000 miles. I might be able to see they're still in the front of the head, or front of the block and the head. If we were redoing these, we'd just pick those out carefully. But it really doesn't matter. Valve cover's off. I took the timing chain off that links the 2 cams. You can see there's quite a bit of wear in that upper tensioner, or that upper guide. So it could be just from 180,000 miles, could be from running so low on oil too. So looks like hard for you guys to see, but that timing chain guide is still there. I don't think I'll be pulling the front cover, but maybe. Let's see. Next, I think I am going to pop the cams off. I kind of want to check the heads for torque, see if there's an indication that it started pulling threads. You can get to it with the cam in place. It's just easier to get to all the head bolts with that off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and zip these cams off. I'm not gonna really film it. This is more of a what happened than a how-to vid, so I apologize for that. All right, guys, so I got the cams out, the head bolts are out. I did try to retorque them. I loosened them and retorqued them. They all went to spec, so it didn't pull any threads. So I think the head is probably gonna end up being usable, unless he finds some smashies on the underside. You see in here, it's dirty. You know, it's a 180,000 mile car. There's no sludge buildup, which is good. So I don't think there was a long history of oil change neglect, but certainly towards the end there was. I had one last oil change and then kaboom. Down here we've got the exhaust cam. You can see really not a lot of wear. There's some little marks. I can't feel anything with my fingernail. Intake cam's the same, and you know, before y'all, you know, crucify me, just throwing this stuff on the ground. It's not in order. It's not organized, clean, hermetically sealed. I mean, let's be honest, guys. This engine's never going in a car again. There might be some usable parts, like I said, the head. It's gonna need head work. I'm sure, you know, at least cleaned, and then it can be reassembled, you know. I'm not worried about keeping it super clean, so don't crucify me. I'm gonna go ahead and get you set up on tripod. Let's pull this head off and see what we find. Also, very strangely, the whole time I've been working on this, never really noticed anything. As soon as I pulled the head bolts out, it stunk. I mean, like nasty ass gear oil, which is really kind of odd that I didn't smell it. I mean, you know, we're open timing case or open timing cover down all the way to the oil pan. Didn't smell anything, but pulling those head bolts out, man, it stunk. So I'm not really sure what we're gonna find. I know we're gonna find a missing piston and rod, but it'll be interesting to see what else that we do find. So let me get you set up here and we'll pop this head off. All right, so I haven't cheated. This thing's still on there. Hopefully you guys got a good vantage point and my big ugly head doesn't get in the way, but I don't know if this is going to lift right off or I'm going to have to get some persuasion, but let's give it a whirl anyways. It's going to weigh a ton. And I'm standing on coolant spill with bald sneakers. So, oh yeah, she came right up. All right, so place your bets. We know we're going to see a missing piston. Are we going to see evidence? Oh God, that stinks. And that's not me, that's the engine. The engine stinks. I'm glad you guys don't have smell vision. But are we gonna see impacts on the head from valves kissing pistons? Let's take a look here. Whoa. Well, first glance, I don't really see anything. But let's get this down on the floor where we can see a little better. All right, so this is the back of the head, cylinder 6. All the valves are closed, so that's good. Same thing with cylinder 5, they're all closed. Cylinders 4 and 3, 2, and even cylinder 1 that had the damaged spark plug. So I don't really see any evidence. We'll have to get a flat edge to see if this thing did warp, but all signs look good. So this head should be savable. Yeah, I mean, you guys tell me. It just looks like a dirty old head. So let's take a look, see what we have in our cylinders. Here we have cylinder 6, and you can see all the crap that's in here. I mean, like, it's chunky. That's all coming off the cylinder wall. Cylinder 5, same thing, bunch of crap and garbage running down the cylinder wall. That's what we saw on the cam. I don't know what all this crap is. I have a good idea. It's probably bits of piston and connecting rod, because it does seem like aluminum. And some of it's magnetic. And of course, cylinder 2. And more of this crap dripping down the cylinder walls. And then of course, oh, that's a lot of damage. Obviously you see all the crap in the cylinder. I definitely see damage to the cylinder itself at the bottom. I can see damage to, I don't know if that's the windage tray or part of the oil pan. We'll get this flipped over here in a minute and take a better look. Chain guide, it's got some wear, but nothing terrible. Not as bad as the top one. And both are in place, neither one's broken. Yeah, it's magnetic. You can see it's magnetic. So, I mean, it could be bits of the connecting rod, I suppose. I mean, how did it go through the whole engine, though? That's what's crazy. Why would it have gone through the whole motor? Let me flip this thing over, and we'll pop the oil pan off and see all the fun inside. Okay, guys, got all the bolts out, tipped upside down. Heard lots of clinky clankies as it spun around, so we know there's lots of fun to be seen. And there's some of it falling out right now. All right. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Or 4. All right, well, there's the inside of the oil pan. There's a sump area, all kinds of full of crap. Here's all of our piston and our rod. Obviously that's where cylinder 1 is, so that's where all that crap fell. But oil pan looks okay, so we could definitely reuse that. All right, let's start down here at the ass end, cylinder 6. There's some chunkies. Ooh. What is that? That looks like a, what is that? It's like an oil squirter. We got more pieces, and then the bulk of it here. It's fantastic. It's smashed into the oil pump. Lots of pieces. Ooh. There's the connecting rod, or at least part of, or the cap anyway. And here's a nice hole in our windage tray where to play peekaboo. Connecting rod, that's definitely the source of that magnetic stuff. Our oil pump chain's still intact. We don't know, see the oil pump chain's still intact. We don't know if the oil pump sheared inside. I mean, it's definitely blown apart from impact. But I was trying to see, the nut's still in place, so it didn't lose the nut. It could have sheared the shaft inside the pump. We could probably take that apart, take a look at it, but that junk gets stuck and she won't spin. Oh, there's just a bunch of crap in the way. Let me I don't know why, but let me see if I can get maybe this oil pump and this windage tray out of the way so we can see a little bit more. Alright guys, well here is the oil pump housing. You can see it's multi-piece. Sorry about the fan noise, it's still a little bit stymied here. I did try to turn the pump and it is basically seized. I can barely turn it, just starts to turn. I don't know if it seized up. My guess is it seized up with that low oil. or it's sucked up a bunch of crap and plugged. I'm not going to disassemble it. I'm just not that interested. The oil pickup is pretty, well, I mean, it's got crap in it, but it's not plugged solid. You know, the back side, it all looks pretty normal, and until we get to here. There's our piston and our rod. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't think we're gonna turn the crank and reuse it. Yeah. She's toast. She's a bit toasty, eh? So I got, well, there's the top of the piston. That's good. Here's another, well, we almost have a whole piston now. Would you look at that? We have almost a whole piston. And a bunch of more crap down here. Let's say, well, if that's a piece of piston, this looks like a piece of rod. And just more trash. And then, of course, here we got the bulk of it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that out. Here's a piece of connecting rod and side the crank there. Yeah. Alright, guys. Well, I'm not going to be able to get this out. It's going to be hard for you to see. But the wrist pin is actually jammed into the block. It went underneath where the main cap is, and it's just jammed in there. It rocks a little bit, but it's just sandwiched. I mean, you'd have to take the crank out and you know, just why. But I mean, look at this crank. I can't believe this thing still turned over, and it didn't make a hole. But what I also want to kind of show, see it too much on the end cap or on the main bearing, but look at the color of that, look at the color of that. Now you got a little bit extra light just because where I have my light set up. That main cap's a little darker than this one, not bad. But now come look at our connecting rod. That dark piece is what broke off of cylinder 1, and that's what the rod should look like, or the cap for the rod. I'm gonna say that got a little worn. So I'm thinking it's still oil starvation. Somehow, for whatever reason, it favored this cylinder, and it just catastrophically disassembled itself. Holy crap! The rest of the connecting rods look fine. I'm really not in the mood to disassemble this any further. I mean, what's the point? There's really nothing usable. Maybe some of these rods and pistons could be used, but my guess is that this is scored up pretty good from all this crap floating around in the oil. Lesson: change your oil. It's not hard. If you can't do it, go to a shop, have it done. It's cheap insurance. I mean, like I said, this I could have sold this motor for $1,000 easy all day long. Now it's barely worth its weight in scrap, and that's just where it'll go. It'll go in the trunk of this, all off to scrap. I'm not going to save the oil filter housing. It's probably all full of crap. The head, I think, could be saved. I think we could probably get that cleaned and save it. Cams look good, but that's about it. Timing cover, if I feel so inclined, maybe I'll pull that off and save that. But the rest of this thing is junk. So I appreciate y'all following this little episode. It's not really my normal stuff, but I just had to see what happened and the extent of the damage, and that's pretty significant. Yeah, change your oil, folks. We'll see you in the next one.